Now, the Cabot-Phillips thing is also very interesting. Well, it also turns out that Cabot-Phillips, from September 4th all the way through to September 10th until September 11th, took a vacation and he wasn't on his show.
Maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse.
You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks.
What if everything you thought you knew about Charlie Kirk's final days was a complete lie? What if the people now claiming to honor his memory were the exact same individuals allegedly plotting against him behind closed doors? I'm about to reveal shocking allegations that will completely shatter your understanding of this entire situation. And trust me, you're not going to believe what I discovered. Before we dive into this explosive story, I need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because videos like this one that expose the truth often get buried by the algorithm. Don't be the person who misses out on crucial information because you forgot to subscribe. Your future self will thank you for staying informed about what's really happening behind the scenes. Conservative media is currently experiencing its biggest earthquake in years, and it all started when Candace Owens dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. She's making accusations so serious, so damaging, that they could potentially destroy careers, reputations overnight. We're talking about allegations of betrayal, manipulation, and conspiracy at the highest levels of conservative politics. According to Candace, Ben Shapiro and Cabot Phillips, who happens to be Erika Kirk's former boyfriend, were actively working together to sabotage Charlie Kirk's rising influence in the conservative movement. Think about how twisted this is. The very people who are now positioning themselves as guardians of his legacy are allegedly the same ones who wanted to see him fail. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Candace claims that Phillips, who previously dated Charlie's widow, Erika, attended a secret military meeting the night before the assassination. We're talking about the literal evening before one of the most shocking events in recent political history. When these allegations became public, Phillips immediately went in damage control mode, releasing photographs that he claimed proved he was somewhere else entirely during that time frame. However, Candace isn't buying it. She's openly questioning whether those photographs were manipulated, whether the metadata was altered, and whether we're being fed a carefully constructed lie. What makes this entire situation even more suspicious is the fact that Phillips was hired directly by Ben Shapiro himself as a senior editor at the Daily Wire. This isn't some random connection we're talking about here. This is an extremely tight inner circle. According to Candace, Charlie Kirk was never truly part of that exclusive club. She describes the entire conservative media establishment as one big elite network, and claims that Charlie was being systematically sabotaged behind the scenes. By the time he realized what was happening to him, it was already too late to stop it. These aren't casual accusations we're dealing with here. These are career-ending, reputation-destroying allegations that could have massive consequences for everyone involved. But Candace didn't stop there. She took things to an entirely different level by confronting Ben Shapiro directly on her own podcast platform. This is where things get absolutely explosive, because she presented what she claims are authentic private text messages between herself and Charlie Kirk. We're talking about real communications, actual evidence that supposedly reveals Charlie's true feelings about Ben Shapiro. According to these text messages, Charlie believed that Shapiro was actively trying to destroy both his and Candace's careers simultaneously. His advice to Candace was to treat Shapiro like noise. Those were his exact words. In these private conversations, he allegedly claimed that Shapiro's respect among conservative movement participants was extremely limited. He wrote that Shapiro viewed him as a genuine threat to his position, and was attempting to destroy both their careers deliberately. The language in these messages, according to Candace, was filled with hostility and animosity that cannot be denied. Charlie allegedly told her that Shapiro harbored specific hatred toward her, particularly because Charlie himself had publicly supported her career. But here's the shocking part of all. According to these communications, Shapiro viewed Candace as someone he wanted to control completely, referring to her as and this is reportedly a direct quote, slave 100%. Someone he desired absolute control over. Candace publicly confirmed the authenticity of these messages and stated that she possesses hundreds more similar communications. We're talking about approximately 300 messages total. She now publicly states that Shapiro is falsely presenting himself as Charlie's defender when, according to her assessment, Charlie would be laughing at Shapiro's current behavior if he could see it today. The confrontation has become completely unrestrained at this point. Candace is describing Shapiro as obnoxious and accusing him of harboring hatred toward anyone outside his carefully chosen inner circle. She's making claims about religious texts and belief systems that are absolutely explosive in nature. The gloves are entirely off in this fight. Now here's something that will send chills down your spine. Less than 48 hours before the assassination, Charlie Kirk participated in an interview with Ben Shapiro. When you watch that interview today, knowing what we now know, something feels deeply unsettling about the entire exchange. Charlie challenges Shapiro's talking points directly while Shapiro appears visibly uncomfortable during their conversation. Charlie begins asking what some people characterize as forbidden questions. Questions made people in positions of power extremely uneasy. According to sources, Turning Point donors allegedly disapproved strongly of the direction Charlie was pursuing. They did not want him asking uncomfortable questions about certain geopolitical situations. They want compliance and obedience, not challenging inquiries that might upset their carefully constructed narratives. Many of Charlie's supporters believe he crossed a significant line during that interview. Circulating theory suggests that donors desired someone who would maintain consistent messaging and stay on script. They wanted a spokesperson, not an independent thinker, might ask uncomfortable questions. Some people genuinely believe that his curiosity and willingness to challenge established narratives may have ultimately cost him his life. That theory is gaining serious momentum online, and it's not hard to understand why. When you look at the timeline of events, the connections between the key players, and the suspicious circumstances surrounding everything that happened, a disturbing picture begins to emerge. So who exactly is Cabot Phillips, and why does his name keep surfacing in this entire situation? He works as an employee for Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire, and he previously dated Erika Kirk, making him Charlie's widow's ex-boyfriend. According to sources that Candace claims to have contacted, both Phillips and Erika attended a confidential military meeting at Fort Huachuca military base in Arizona. This is a real location, and these are specific allegations with verifiable detail. Candace introduces an eyewitness to her show. A veteran who identifies himself as Mitch claims he was physically present and witnessed a secret meeting occurring the evening before the assassination took place. He named specific individuals who were allegedly present at this gathering, including someone named Brian Harple, who maintains direct connections to Turning Point USA security operations. Most disturbingly, Mitch reports seeing someone whose appearance resembled Cabot Phillips. After being shown Phillips's photograph for identification purposes, Mitch confirmed the identification positively, stating that was the individual he personally observed at the military base. When Candace checked Phillips's work schedule, she discovered something interesting. He was missing from the Morning Wire show from September 4th through September 10th, which aligns perfectly with the timeline Mitch described. But wait, there's more. Mitch also claims he saw a blonde woman with striking and distinctive eyes whose appearance matched Erika Kirk's physical characteristics. He appeared live on Candace's podcast and provided additional details about what he witnessed that night. According to his account, this woman was with the man who resembled Phillips, and both were present at this mysterious military meeting. Naturally, the pressure on Phillips to respond publicly became enormous. He finally breaks his silence by releasing a photograph he claims was taken in Nashville on September 8th, provides surveillance footage from his office location, and shares a family photograph featuring his wife and child. He claims he was home on both September 8th and 9th, attending an ultrasound appointment while preparing for a gender reveal event. He even announces publicly that they're expecting a boy. Phillips paints a picture of himself as someone who was nowhere near Arizona, simply living his normal family life during that time frame. However, internet investigators immediately began analyzing his photographs and noticed something suspicious. The magazines visible in his checkout photograph don't correspond with his claimed date accurately. They don't line up properly with the timeline he's presenting. This raises legitimate questions about whether his presented timeline is actually accurate. Phillips claims that Candace possesses the original photograph and complete metadata to verify everything he states, but she fires back by stating that iPhone metadata can be easily edited and manipulated. She demonstrates on her program how remarkably simple altering photographs and their embedded information actually is for anyone with basic technical knowledge. Candace makes a very public request, asking Phillips to text the photograph directly to her personally, noting that even edited photographs can still be traced and verified if transmitted via text message. According to her statement, he has not done so. He still hasn't sent it. Raises even more questions about his claims. Here's something that should make you extremely uncomfortable. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, you're making a massive mistake. Content creators like myself put everything on the line to bring you information that mainstream media won't touch. The least you can do is hit that subscribe button and show your support. Don't be someone who consumes this content without giving back to the creators who risk everything to inform you. Where does this leave the entire situation? No definitive proof exists yet regarding who is being completely truthful in this matter. However, examining public opinion, trending online reveals extremely clear sentiment among observers. Many of Charlie Kirk's supporters have lost complete trust in both Shapiro and Phillips. When directly asked whether they trust these individuals, the overwhelming response is absolute skepticism. The question overshadowing everything is simple yet deeply disturbing. Was Charlie eliminated because he started asking the wrong questions? Were the people now publicly claiming his legacy the same exact ones who wanted him silenced permanently? These are the questions that keep people awake at night, wondering what really happened during those final days. Think about the implications of what we're discussing here. If even half of these allegations are true, it means that one of the most influential voices in conservative media was potentially betrayed by people within his own movement. It means that the very individuals now profiting from his legacy and claiming to carry on his work might have been actively working against him when he was alive. The connections are undeniable. Phillips works for Shapiro. Phillips dated Charlie's widow. Phillips allegedly attended a secret military meeting the night before the assassination. Phillips was missing from his regular work schedule during the exact time frame in question. Phillips provided photographic evidence that doesn't seem to match up with his claimed timeline. Aren't coincidences we're dealing with here. But there's something even more sinister to consider. If Charlie Kirk was indeed asking uncomfortable questions that made powerful donors unhappy, what does that say about the state of conservative media today? Are we dealing with controlled opposition? Are the voices we trust actually working for interests that don't align with ours? Candace Owens is putting her entire career on the line by making these allegations public. She's risking everything to expose what she believes is the truth about Charlie Kirk's final days. She's showing text messages, introducing eyewitnesses, and challenging powerful figures in conservative media to prove their innocence. The fact that she possesses 300 text messages from Charlie Kirk suggests that their relationship was much closer than many people realized. These weren't casual acquaintances we're talking about. These were two individuals who apparently shared deep concerns about the direction of conservative media and the people controlling it from behind the scenes. When Charlie allegedly told Candace to treat Ben Shapiro like noise, he was sending a clear message about his assessment of Shapiro's character and motivations. When he allegedly described Shapiro's respect among movement participants as extremely limited, he was revealing his true feelings about someone who is now positioning himself as a defender of Charlie's legacy. The timing of Charlie's final interview with Ben Shapiro is absolutely crucial to understanding this entire situation. 48 hours before his death, he's challenging Shapiro directly, asking uncomfortable questions about geopolitical situations that apparently made donors extremely unhappy. He's displaying the kind of independent thinking that threatens established narratives and power structures. If you're still not subscribed to this channel, I honestly don't know what you're waiting for. This is exactly the kind of content that gets suppressed and buried by algorithms. You need to take action right now to make sure you don't miss future videos that could contain even more explosive revelations. Your subscription isn't just support for me, it's a vote for independent media and truth-telling in an era of carefully controlled narratives. The eyewitness testimony from the veteran named Mitch adds an extremely disturbing dimension to this entire story. He claims to have personally witnessed individuals who resembled both Cabot Phillips and Erika Kirk at a secret military meeting the night before the assassination. He was willing to appear publicly on Candace's show and stake his reputation on what he claims to have seen. When someone is willing to go public with allegations this serious, it typically means they have strong convictions about what they witnessed. Veterans don't usually make up stories about secret military meetings unless they have compelling reasons to speak out. The fact that he could identify Phillips from a photograph and provide specific details about the woman he saw suggests this isn't some fabricated story. The magazines in Phillips' checkout photograph, not matching his claimed timeline, is the kind of detail that investigators focus on when trying to verify alibis. These small inconsistencies often reveal larger deceptions. If Phillips was truly in Nashville preparing for a gender reveal party, why don't the details of his photographic evidence support that narrative? Candace's demonstration of how easily photograph metadata can be manipulated is crucial for understanding why we should be skeptical of digital evidence. Anyone with basic technical knowledge can alter the embedded information in photographs to make them appear as if they were taken at different times and locations. The fact that Phillips won't text the photograph directly to Candace suggests he might have something to hide. The broader implications of this story extend far beyond the individuals involved. We're potentially looking at a systematic betrayal within conservative media, where influential voices are eliminated when they become too independent or start asking uncomfortable questions. This is true. It represents a fundamental corruption of the movement that millions of Americans trust and support. Charlie Kirk's willingness to challenge established narratives, even when it made powerful donors uncomfortable, demonstrated the kind of intellectual honesty that threatens controlled opposition networks. His questions about media coverage of geopolitical conflicts apparently crossed lines that certain interests didn't want crossed. The fact that both Ben Shapiro and Cabot Phillips are now positioning themselves as protectors of Charlie's legacy, while being accused of working against him when he was alive, represents a level of cynicism that is truly breathtaking. If these allegations are true, we're witnessing one of the most brazen examples of wolves in sheep's clothing in political media history. As this story continues to develop, more evidence will undoubtedly emerge that either supports or contradicts these explosive allegations. What we know for certain is that Candace Owens put everything on the line to bring this information to light. She's risking her career, her reputation, and potentially her safety to expose what she believes is the truth about Charlie Kirk's final days. The conservative movement deserves leaders who are genuinely committed to the principle they claim to defend, not individuals who are secretly working to undermine voices that become too independent or threatening to established power structures. If we can't trust the people who claim to be fighting for our values, then we need to seriously reconsider who deserves our support and attention. This story is far from over, and I'll continue following every development as new information becomes available. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, so you don't miss any updates on this explosive situation that could fundamentally change how we view conservative media forever.